we're going to be doing a hip hinge movement. We're going to start with a body weight hip hinge and then progress to using 2 dumbbells as a resistance. So to do a hip hinge properly, we need to pay attention to one thing. Hip hinge means that your hip moves backward and forward. Your hip goes back, your hip goes forward. The muscle that you'll be training is predominantly your glute muscles, but also your hamstring. Your knees are not really involved in this movement. It is actually just a hip joint going back and forward. One very important concept that you can do the hip hinge effectively is that we want to keep a neutral spine. What it means is this: if I were to put a straight line against my back, I should see that when my spine is neutral, my hip between my shoulder blade and my head, they're all touching the dowel. So even when I push my hip back, I am still maintaining those 3 points of contact. And what you don't want to do is that you don't want to lose that point of contact as you hinge. You want to make sure that your spine maintains neutral as you go through the movement. Another way that is very, very easy to get the concept of doing hip hinge is pretend that you're a baseball player. You're getting into an athletic stance. I like to put my hand on each side of my thigh. As I put my hip back, my hand slides down to about my knee level. And when I stand up, my hand slides back down to hip level. From the side, this is what this looks like. I'm going to push my hip back, and as I do so, my hand slides down to my knee. And when I stand up by driving my hip forward, my hand comes back up to hip level. So this is a body weight hip hinge. One way that you can also do it is that you can practice with a dowel. You can push a dowel against your thigh. So now instead of marking your movement with your hand on your thigh, you're going to have the dowel against your thigh. Push your hip back, and the dowel is about your knee height. When you drive your hip forward by squeezing your glute, dowel comes back up to hip height. So this is your body weight hip hinge. If you find that this is a very, very easy exercise and you want to add to the difficulty level, you can take a dumbbell in each hand. What you're going to do is that you're going to rest the dumbbell right in front of your thigh, similar to how you were holding onto the dowel or when you have your hands on your thigh. Pushing your hip back, and as you push your hip back, the dumbbell would be about your knee height. When you drive your hip forward, it comes back to your natural hip height. Push your hip back, and hip forward. Hip back, hip forward. So that would be your hip hinge or your Romanian deadlift using dumbbells.